You know, I'm very intrigued when people try to explain away what appears to be a mud flood, very gothic and beautiful architectural buildings that we see, very big with their bottoms or windows covered in dirt. This is what they call the mud flood. But what I'm telling you, there's a lot of people who know the truth, that history is a blatant lie. We are told a historical narrative that covers up the truth. We are told that human beings in present form have been here for 200,000 years, and that's a blatant lie. It wouldn't have took us 190,000 years to get to 1820, and then from 1820 to 1930, a little over a 100-year time period, we invented the car, the plane, the train, the light bulb, electricity, the computer, radio. We invented all these things from 1820 to 1930. Do you understand? And then they turn around and say, well, we've been here in modern form for 200 plus thousand years. And it took this long, 192,000 years, to get to what they call 1820 AD. And then we, from 1820, invented the steam train, the steamboat, and all the things we enjoy today. From 1820 to 1930, we invented everything, and we've been in a state of a standstill because the things we have today are only the things we invented from 1820 to 1930. They are just being perfected, made smaller, faster. Okay, so in reality, this 200 plus thousand year narrative that we are taught that modern man has been on the earth is a lie. And the mud flood is truly the result of the great flood described in the Bible, Noah's Ark. Now, the technology on the earth was great during Noah's day. I mean, these people were building buildings that could actually reach heaven. God had to come down and spread them out. Okay? These ziggurats. Now, the thing is, God wiped it all out with water. And it took man a long time to clear it out. When Noah landed, it was him, his sons, and their wives. Mankind had to repopulate the earth. And I promise you, the first thing on their mind was not traveling inward in all directions after they landed and got out of the ark. It was just to live, to be fruitful and multiply. You know, the flood didn't happen that long ago. Not really. I mean, you look in an almanac or on Google and it tells you there's 7 billion people on the earth. You can run with that, but I promise you, you yourself have not verified that. You have no way to count people. You can only read it or have someone tell you that. All this nonsense. And you instantaneously believe it. Now, I'm not saying everything's a lie, but we are fed a false narrative to hide our true history. And we had technology very great, and with technology comes sin. Okay? And God was furious with the iniquity of man, that there was only sin in his heart continually, so he was going to wipe out everyone, but Noah found grace. And Noah was commanded to build an ark and to save certain animals and his sons and their wives. And that deluge of water that covered the whole earth up to the highest mountain, after that went away, do you know how much mud there was? How much mud that covered buildings? Okay, I'm not saying the mud went into the building and they had to dig that out, but it certainly welled up on all the perimeter of the buildings and these cities. Everyone was wiped out. And it took hundreds, if not a couple thousand years for mankind to repopulate the earth and dig some of that out and claim it as their own. when it wasn't. It was their fallen ancestors who died in the flood. That's what the mud flood is. And you can trace back technology to see when we actually arrived here. We were not, there's no way modern man could have been on the earth. If you Google modern man, how long's he been on the earth? They'll tell, sometimes they'll say 300,000 years and other times 200,000 years. And to believe that is to believe that mankind was mentally challenged for a very long time. You think men actually rode on horses, donkeys, and mules for 192,000 years before they invented the steam engine to slap on a train and a boat, and then invent the telephone, the car, the airplane, the computer, the light bulb, TV, radios, all this stuff they call the Industrial Revolution was all invented from 1820 to 1930. And from 1930 to present day, it has been perfected, made smaller, made faster, and that's it. There's nothing new that is being invented. Okay, they're just perfecting TVs, laptops, cameras, making cars more efficient, airplanes. And that's all it is. Everything that could be invented is invented. That's it. All the other stuff they talk about within quantum physics is all a lie. It's all theoretical. D-wave and the nonsense they come with is just unbearable. Okay, it can't be demonstrated, and it's all a lie. What we have on the earth is it concerning technology. But to the technology we use is not as advanced as what we really have. They have us using batteries because Rayovac and Duracell refuse to lose billions of dollars, allowing us to get technology that we would not have to be constantly replacing batteries and using fossil fuel, which they call fossil fuel, which is absurd. They lie to us. They say that oil well is dry. There's nothing there. And then in 2, 3, 4 years, it's full again. That oil is the earth's blood. It regenerates. Okay? They are not sapping the earth of all its oil in an oil well the way they want you to believe. That's how they drive up prices. Okay? They'll show you a giant warehouse full of barrels of oil. But all those oil wells that they say are empty are filling again. And that is a fact. And if you want to do some research a little while, you'll see that these oil wells refill themselves. And it's all fear porn to inflate prices. Okay, we are stunted as a people. We are systematically dumbed down. And I tell you, that things like the mud flood are very interesting, but it is somewhat annoying to hear all these theories that they try to come up with to avoid acknowledging that the mud flood, or the reason why all this mud and dirt and buildings are, their first floors are underground, was because of the flood of the Bible, Noah's Ark. Right? Our entire time, the calendar we go by is fictitious. Okay, the solar calendar, lunar calendar, the Earth is not whizzing around the sun. It does not take the Earth 365 days to complete a yearly cycle of going around the moon, or the sun, forgive me. These time frames we go by are employed to cover up the truth. In the Bible, it says there is nothing new under the sun, and that is true. All the technology we have today was around then. Now, I know and admit that sounds crazy, but it's true. I am not saying that these people were running around with cell phones, or that type of technology was available to everyone. No, but That technology did exist and was available to certain people. Okay? There was nothing new under the sun then, and it stands today. Now, you can call me crazy all you want, but you're doing it based on what other people tell you, who you believe are far smarter than you and me combined. And that's ignorant. Okay? Because knowledge, you don't have to be taught knowledge. You can teach it to yourself by realizing you employ logic. You must understand whatever it is you are researching. If you cannot fully understand it, you have a problem. You cannot go into high gear of just memorizing what they're saying to regurgitate. I used to do that, and I didn't understand what I was regurgitating, but I could do it to a T. I would memorize all the spiral arms of the galaxy, having no idea that the galaxy's arms I was memorizing only existed in an artist's rendering of a picture with an arrow saying, "You are here." And that is not a real photograph. Okay, it's an artist rendering. 99.9999 of all documentaries and pictures on an infinite vacuum universe outer space are animations and artist renderings. We are systematically dumbed down. The days of the earth are numbered. Prophecy of the Bible is upon us. They are defunding the police so that there is no law enforcement. They are letting millions, not hundreds of thousands, but millions, are flooding into America. And that's to generate anarchy, to have no response from law enforcement. The United Nations is going to have to be, they're going to beg them to come in. You watch. There's things that are going on now that aren't going away. They're not going away. And you can think they are, but they're not. And all you have to do is turn on the TV at 6 o'clock and then at 6:30, and what you hear is not going away. Not going away until many cannot turn their TVs on no more. And I don't want to say why they won't be able to do that. But they're coming with fear porn. They govern you with fear of asteroids, aliens from other worlds that do not exist. Demonic entities do, that impersonate aliens from other worlds using the abomination bodies that these scoundrels make, mixing animal and human genome. But this video is about the topic of the mud flood. That mud flood is the direct result of the worldwide flood spoken of in the Bible, Noah's Ark. And the reason why people allegedly started removing a lot of this mud or caked up dirt in the 18th and 17th centuries is because it took that long for mankind to repopulate. When Noah got off the ark, it was Noah, his sons, their wives, Noah's wife, and that's it. And if you think from that date that to now that there's 7 billion people, I highly doubt it. I highly doubt there's that many people on the earth. And they say that land is sparse. When I drive to my parents' house 50 miles out to Medina, I see nothing but open land. As soon as we get out of the city, Rochester, and I enter into Greece and Spencerport and Brockport, Holly, Albion, it's all open land. And what they say is a lie. It doesn't match with observable reality. I'm sorry, you people need to get your heads out of Google, Wikipedia, the Kardashians, and the bread and circus sporting events that they show constantly. You are hypnotized, bamboozled, and dazzled into an oblivion of theoretical lies. And I get the feeling my channel's going down soon. And when it does, I doubt I will start another one. It don't make no sense. Not to me, not really. Because people, we're taught to only care about ourselves and to consume and to be vain and to be selfish. Because the earth is insignificant. There's millions of Earth-like planets out there, we're taught. And there's superior life. And we are taught to fear it. And there is no superior life out there. Mankind, life, three-dimensional physical reality of matter only exists on the earth. The earth is the floor of everything we look up and see. What we look up and see is the ceiling. And the ceiling does not go on forever. Go learn about entropy. Everything breaks down, decays, ages, falls apart, rust, tarnish, corrode and erode. And someone will say, "Oh, gold don't tarnish." Yeah, but it falls apart. Okay, you can rub gold against something hard, and it will fall apart. All right, so that's entropy for you. Nothing in a three-dimensional physical reality of matter can be forever. God is forever because he made this three-dimensional physical reality of matter. From the fourth dimension spirit world, he is the king of spirits. He has no beginning or end. And that's why we are programmed to think the way we do. Well, what made God? And then what that made God? That's because you're thinking in a three-dimensional physical reality of solid matter. And you'd be correct, because nothing in that state can be forever or have always existed. In the spirit world, the nature and mechanics of that realm are totally different. God is the king of spirits and the author of all life and dimension. He is forever and always was.